1st, 2022, and I'm calling the regular Belle Plaine City Council meeting into session. Should be noted those in attendance are Councilperson Peck, Councilperson Schlesselman, Councilperson Morrow, Councilperson Malcolm's absent in Germany, claiming to be working. Debate that. Councilperson Landed should be here sooner or later, a little bit later. City Administrator Beck's here, Assistant City Attorney Gage Kinsler's here, the Mayor's here, and City Clerk Sandra Walton's here. I'd like to remind all in attendance, including the council and staff, to please shut off your cell phones or put them on the mute mode. Before I move to agenda item 4, Gage, do we have anything legal to go into closed session tonight for?
No.
Okay, council, you talked about 27, 28, and 29 on your agenda item. Those will not come into play unless you have secret new stuff that I don't know about, council. In that case, you should have been in my office. Okay, let's rise for the national anthem. Pledge of allegiance.
Say yeah.
Too many games. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Spent the greater part of Saturday night looking at the UNI marching band and trying to find a Belle Plaine kid. I couldn't find her. In the first place, I don't know what she plays for an instrument. Second place, you put them in those uniforms with those goofy hats. All right. Approval of consented agenda, council minutes of September 7th, 2023, bills received. Discussion, council. If not, I look for a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda, council minutes of September 7th and bills received.
Is there a second to that motion? Last chance for discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Resident comments. Now it's time for Belle Plaine residents to come forward to comment on any issues that are on the agenda tonight or bring any issues to our attention. Please come to the podium, state your name and address. Please address all comments to the entire city council. This is not a time to address individuals on the council or time for debate. Please address the council with respect and courtesy. Council, this is time for us to listen to ideas and information our residents bring to our attention. I also remind the council, this is not a time for debate. With that being said, have at it.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wright. It's my wife Diana. I'm purchasing a couple houses from Cristinos. They're on the list. I spoke with Gage. I spoke with Steve. I'm asking that you extend the time that you are doing legal proceedings on those two houses. The first address is 1306 6th Avenue and 1411 10th. I'll work with the inspector on the 1306 6th Avenue. That one I think can be fixed. I'll be purchasing them November 1st. I'll be working on that one on 6th Avenue in November. It should be ready to go and be rentable by December. The one on 10th Avenue, we're gonna put all the siding on in November. So at least the outside will look better. And then I need winter time to work on the inside. So it's gonna take me, December, January, February, probably to work on the inside with the electricians, plumbers, and work on the rest of that. So I'm just asking that you give me an extension on that. I can't come to the next two meetings. In October, I'm taking a vacation. So when I get back, I'm gonna be right to work on those. So first thing I'm gonna do is get them mowed and get all the weeds around them before I go on vacation so that even before I purchase them. So that way they're all cleaned up and looking good.
Can that include that pile of brush on the one on 10th Avenue?
Yes, I will get that burnt.
Okay.
I will get that burnt.
Council, what do you think? Just give him an extension and let him know we're still watching this property. I know it's not an agenda item, but they're both houses that are fixable.
Yes.
So it would give us 2 more pieces of property in town for rentals.
I think the one up on 10th has some foundation issues.
Not that I'm aware of. I've seen some cracks, but I mean, not anything that was falling in or anything like that, or anything that was sagging. I've seen some small cracks, but not anything major. And I've been inside in the basement. So,
Yeah, we always get pictures and I can't remember, if I'm mixing that up with some other house.
I'm thinking, I had to look it up, I had to remember which houses it
I know
are.
which house it is, but
I'm thinking the inspector had something wrote up on the foundation on that one. I don't remember
okay.
without having it here in front of me.
We can give you the inspector's report.
Yeah.
And I would like that. I've talked to both guys, and I haven't spoke to the inspector yet, so.
Yeah, he'll be able to elaborate even further on that.
I can send those if you want to.
Yeah,
Email.
Yeah, Rusty Wright Properties. IES at the end at gmail.com. And that'd be great to know what's on the list. I know the one on 6th Street, he took care of everything on the list. He came back to inspect and then he added stuff and then he got mad and said, I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm like, okay, that makes no sense. But,
Yeah, I think
It'll be tomorrow afternoon.
sounds good.
at one point he told us it was gonna be ready in a couple weeks and then the inspector still had issues, so.
And I know the one on 10th's been sitting empty for at least 4, he's owned it for 4 years. So the goal is to have it rented by early spring.
Well, taking care of the outside first will
Did
probably.
we pass resolutions
No.
on these 2 properties?
No.
We did not.
Did not. I looked and I confirmed with Sandy. I looked at
Okay.
the file.
I think you button up that outside on that and that'll go a long
Oh,
way
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
neighbors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we're gonna, as soon as we close on it, we'll start putting siding on it.
All right, we'll work with you on it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And just keep us informed and we'll check in with you. You guys get in the reports. And if you don't buy the property, please let us know because we're gonna have
Oh, I
to.
will, yeah.
We're gonna have to do something with that property.
Okay. So, thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Any other resident comments? Okay, I've got to turn the page here. All right, now opening a public hearing to sell property at 902 13th Street, Belle Plaine. The property will be sold as is with quick claim deed and no abstract will be provided. The property is sold as is and environmental condition of the site is unknown. The property will be sold for a bid at least of $5,000. Purchaser shall be responsible for payment of all costs of sale, including but not limited to costs for publication and recording of all sales procedures and documents of title. City shall retain all existing easements on, under, and over the property as needed for utilities. Earns money of $500 to be paid to Cole Morgan Schlew and Zarodnik trust account within 24 hours of passage of the resolution approving the sale. That being said, is there anyone here who wants to put a bid on that property? Come on, we're the Catholics when you need. Would have made a great parking lot. Okay, we're gonna have to try a different plan on that property, folks. I'm gonna close that hearing. with no sale at this time. And move to, I'm going to skip the resolution that goes with that. And I'm going to move to the next property at 1207 16th Street. And so the second public hearing is now open, and again, property will be sold as is by quitclaim deed and no abstract will be provided. The property is sold as is, and environmental condition of the site is unknown. Property will be sold for at least $5,000. The purchaser shall be responsible for payment of all costs of sale, including but not limited to costs for publication, recording of all sales, procedures, and documents of title. City shall retain all existing easements on, under, and over the property as needed for utilities. Earns money of $500 to be paid to Cole Morgan Schlew and Zarodnik Trust account within 24 hours of the passage of the resolution approving the sale. That being said, is there a bid for this property at 1207 16th Street? Okay, is this a personal bid, or are you here representing a group?
I am here representing a group. I am here representing the Belle Plaine Community School District.
So you guys are putting a bid of $5,000 on it?
Yes.
Is there anyone, and somewhere in here it says bids have to go up by increments of $250. Is there anyone that wants to give us $5,250 for it? Seeing none, it's sold to the Belle Plaine School. And I don't think we'll worry a lot about the Ernst money coming from you guys. I figure the school's good for the money, and that'll go down and arrest Chad right now. Telling me he owes us a check. So with that being said, let me move to the resolution that deals with this property. Let's go to item 7B, discuss for approval Resolution 220904, resolution that authorizes the final disposition of the real estate at 1207 16th Street. Any discussion on this resolution, council?
I'm just curious as to what the plan is for this, for the school. Are you
Well,
at liberty to say?
yeah, I think so. We are starting this construction program with the kids.
Mhm.
And we have one building site currently that we own. And we are just looking for the future of possibly another building site for a home project for the kids.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further discussion, council? I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 220904 that authorize the final deposition of the real estate at 1207 16th Street.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 3-0. Belle Plaine Schools, you now own another piece of property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, that's not bad. 1 out of 2. Still got out of here with $5,000. Okay, this is closed because we sold it. Okay, we move to another public hearing concerning a dog incident in the area of 1511 A Avenue, Belle Plaine. A dog fight and a dog bite incident, violations of sections 5704 and 5706 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Belle Plaine. Chief, do you want to present first, and then I'll have Austin come up? And
You guys have a copy of the removal order?
they have a copy of this along with photographs.
Yeah, just the notice and photographs.
So yeah, that pretty much spells out the details on it there. I don't remember the date and time, but there was a dog that was running at large, went after the neighbor and his dog. The neighbor got bit, the neighbor's dog got bit. So
Is this the first incident with this particular animal?
as far as I know, it's the first reported incident.
Thank you.
Well, Austin, do you want to come up and
Yes.
tell us?
So, I'm sorry. But
Go ahead.
the only other incident, I guess, would be you guys had the police report on it when people broke into our house.
Okay.
And then that's the only other time my dog's ever like attacked a person. So my wife does daycare, and she had 5 daycare kids in the house at the time. People broke in the back door, and our dog stayed by my wife, and they turned towards her and took a step towards her, and that's when our dog went after him. He was able to get out the back door. But that's the only other incident we've had, minus, I guess, the 2 dogs have got into it before. He doesn't leash his dog, keep it in his yard or anything. And she's constantly over in our yard. She stands at my front window, jumps up on it. She tore her screen out, and she growls at our dogs inside, barks at them. And this is going on for 6 years, and I don't call it in because he's my cousin, and I try to keep it peaceful between us. And on numerous occasions, he's told me he's going to try to keep his dog in his yard. They're going to get a leash, and it hasn't happened. And the first time his dog come over to our yard, attacked our dog. His dog's come over, killed our cats. She's killed 2 of our cats now. And then she chases the cats in our garage, and our dog's protective over that. And she's only been, this is the only dog she's ever had an issue with. Like, my brothers have dogs, cousins, they bring them over. She's never been violent towards any other dog or any person. And I talked to him, then he's kind of not willing to leash his dog as far as he's concerned. He says his dog can go in the church parking lot or church lot next to our house with nothing.
So-
Our dog's constantly, is always on the leash when we go outside. The reason she got off of the leash this time, we were on vacation and my sister-in-law was there with our dog. So she didn't know she could slip out of the leash, but
Whose property did this incident happen?
so it happened on his property, in his driveway. But the only times I've seen it is she chased their dog out of our yard. That's the only time she goes over there or tries to, is when his dog's either right next to our property or literally in our property. But
So she slipped out of her leash this
she
time.
slipped out of her collar. Yes.
Collar.
Yeah. And since then we've got a 5-point harness to put on her. So she can't, there's no chance she's going to slip out of it. And if it helps, I'm willing to put a fence in my yard just to keep his dog out of my yard and to contain our dogs. If that's the route I have to go, if he's not willing to leash his dog or anything, that's the route I'll go. I'm willing to do that.
What breed is your dog?
So she's Sharpei Lab mix.
Okay,
So you're familiar with Chief Hudson's familiar with our old dog. She's a Sharpei. They're the really wrinkly dogs.
mm-hmm,
She was bred to not be so wrinkly, so she didn't have the skin conditions. But this is the 2nd generation from her. And she's yellow lab and Sharpei.
so she's a good sized dog.
No, she's probably about this tall.
Okay, and how about
Yeah.
the neighbor's dog?
She's bigger. She's, I'd say about that tall. Not sure what breed she is, but she's definitely bigger than our dog.
Okay,
Well, if you guys are familiar with that area down there, the Mormon church is down
Yeah.
there, and there's a big wide open place
They're
down from their
3/4
church
of an acre,
parking
yeah.
lot that dogs could run in. So I could see where
Mhm.
maybe some of them let their dogs loose and run in there.
The only dog that's loose down our area is Jace. She's old, and before we lived there, it was just a thing, he let her roam, which was fine. And then our dog started getting into it, and we took the steps to contain our dogs so they don't get into it or run. But
what type of injuries did the other dog have from your?
as far as I talked to Jay, she got just a couple stitches, I think, on her back leg. Is it? And then the last time, also our dogs got into it. He pried their mouths open with his hands. Yes. So that's you don't get in between 2 dogs like that when they're fighting. I get it's your dog. It's my dog. I wanted to, but he literally tried grabbing their mouths and prying them open. But
Is that how we got this wound?
as far as I know, he told me, so when the dogs were at it, he's trying to separate them, and that's when he said she got him.
Did he have any stitches or anything?
No, he refused medical attention as far as I'm aware. You know, Chief?
Not 100% sure.
Yeah. When I talked to the cop, your
Mhm.
other cop, that's what he told me on the phone, was that he denied any medical attention, so.
Well, council, it's in your ballpark. You can order the animal out of Belle Plaine, or you can keep him in Belle Plaine and give him some restrictions. I think you've made the right maneuver with the harness for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll put a fence up, because I don't wanna lose my dog, my kids don't wanna lose our dog.
I think that's the best solution, really.
Yeah, and I'll try to talk to Jay more, see if he's willing to do anything on his side. If not, like, I haven't called the cops or anything in the past, just to be nice, but if their dog comes over, I'm going to, just
I
in
think
case
you're
something
gonna
else
have
happens.
to, so we.
Yeah,
have
so it's
established
documented. That's kind of
record.
what's biting me in the ass, is I don't have any. I was just nice, so there's no records of their dog coming over barking in our window all the time, and
Well, in my opinion, I feel that we had a dog running loose, and we had a dog tied up, they got out of his collar. And, I don't feel it needs to be removed.
I think the fence,
yes.
if you're willing to do a fence,
100% willing to put a fence up.
then,
Yeah. I mean, that just prevents it from both sides. That guarantees it, so.
And when his dog's running loose, call us.
Yes,
Chief's
100%. My
Chief's
wife's
gonna growl at you
Yeah.
tomorrow after.
Yeah. Well, my wife's home all the time, so she's a photographer, so not all the time. She works from home most of the time, so she'll be able to keep track on it.
But at least we can record.
Yeah,
when
that's what, yeah,
his
just
dog
to
is.
help my side.
When you get ready to build your fence, get
Yeah.
a hold of Mark Dran. You'll have to get a permit from him, but there's no permit charge for a fence.
Okay, all right, yep, will do.
So council, I need a motion from you, telling how you want to act in this case. Put your requirements in your motion.
I move to allow the dog to stay in Belle Plaine and, under the condition that the fence is constructed
Yeah.
around your property.
Like, what, I guess, would there be a time frame? Because I'll have to save up to do that. I'm thinking at least early spring, I can be able to have it up, for sure.
And I would agree to that, but you must keep your dog
Yes.
contained.
Yep. Yep.
Until the
Yep.
time that.
That's no problem.
And use the 5-point
Yes.
harness.
Oh, yeah, we got rid of the
instead
other one already.
The collar.
And now the only reason she got off is because my sister-in-law was there and she's not familiar with it. So,
Okay, we're not letting you blame your sister.
Should we say
Yeah.
May 1st
I sit out with her every time I let her out,
on
so.
the fence?
I think that. is-
When? What is
May
it?
1st doable?
That's no problem.
Are you gonna do invisible fence or a chain link or privacy?
I mean, we're probably thinking chain link. I mean, we could try, I guess, if I could get an underground fence, if that works for them, like.
The only thing is, so that would keep your dog from getting out, but that wouldn't
Oh,
keep
yeah,
another
wouldn't
dog from
keep-
coming
yeah.
in.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
yeah. So yeah, probably we'll go chain link or wood, one of the
Yeah.
actual physical fences, so. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so we've got, dog can stay in Belle Plaine, but you gotta have a fence built by May 1st. And until then, use the 5-point harness on the dog to keep him, and then call our police department when the other
Yeah,
dog's
so
out.
do.
Is there, who made that motion?
made a
Mary
motion.
made the motion. We need a second to that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you,
So, yeah,
Austin.
thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Tell the kids we didn't
Yeah,
want
I
to see
will.
we didn't want to see the
Yeah.
dog leave either.
I will, thank you guys.
Thanks. We need to remember to follow up on that, make sure that.
Yes, because, and I'm not gonna talk to the council, but I got headaches over another dog case we did. Chief and I are gonna have to work on it. That went fairly well, though. I'm glad you guys listened to what he had to say. nuances of, how the situation actually happened. Okay, I did have ready for a Belle Plaine Community Development Report, and I see
I'm here.
she's the assistant, no, not the assistant, the co-president,
No. The
I'm
former
just on the
co-president.
board.
the former co-president, co-chairman, whatever. Okay, take it away.
The biggest thing we have going on right now is we are, as you've probably seen, put advertisement out for a director. We are working on other ways of advertising that, as right now we only have one applicant. So we're hoping to advertise in some other fashion other than our Facebook stuff.
I'll warn you, though, Iowa County just struggled getting applicants,
We
so.
know we're gonna struggle, especially when we're staying local, so you think our Facebook would reach the people we wanna reach. But at this point, we're gonna try to look other ways to advertise, whether that'll do us any good or not, I don't know. But we're working towards getting a director. Most recently as officers, you've probably seen, we have quite a bit of new board members in the last year to year and a half. Almost everybody is new within the last year to year and a half. We have one board member who will be stepping down in roughly January. So we will have an open position then. So all of our officers are currently changing. They're kind of intern right now. And by the beginning of the year, we'll have new president, vice president, and all that as well. So a lot of transition there. We, as you probably guys all know, every year we struggle with this. Every time we transition, every time we hire a new director, we always bring up the Main Street, Iowa, what the plus and minuses are. Just so if you hear it again down a year or two from now, we know that whatever decision we make down the road, it wasn't just off a whim. We discuss it every year. As of this year, we looked into it pretty good. We talked to our directors in the past, got their opinions, looked into what Main Street had to offer, what we use. And at this point, we have decided to stay with Main Street, Iowa, at least for another year, for now. And we'll just constantly look at it. We like Main Street, Iowa. We just want to constantly be aware of, where our funding is going, where our time is being used, and if that's the road we want to go. But for now, it is the road we're going to stay with. Things that we have currently going on. We just finished our golf outing. We're getting ready for trunk or treat. We are doing trunk or treat, and that's on the agenda here to close that block down. And then we are getting started on holiday homecoming. One big thing, like with holiday homecoming, we've struggled in the past in the years, is getting new volunteers for anything we do. So it's nice to say that holiday homecoming this year, we have old volunteers that haven't volunteered with us in years that are coming back on board for that committee. And we also have brand new volunteers that are going to volunteer for that this year. So our big push as a board right now is to get committees going again and get different committees for each event. So there's new ideas, different ideas, and a wider range of people. That's about it, other than the street we're asking to close down would be, help me, the block of between 8th and 9th.
Block,
800 block.
east end of Main Street.
Yeah, the east end of Main Street. So,
Yeah, it's from 8th Avenue to 9th Avenue,
correct.
12th Street.
Correct. And it would be from 2 to 5. So trunk or treat this year is going to be at 3 o'clock. So we would want the street closed down by 2 and probably be able to open up by 5.
And so as long as we have her standing there, council, I'm going to take you to agenda item 10, discuss for possible approval to close Main Street from 2 to 5 p.m. on Sunday, October 30th for annual trunk and treat celebration. And that's from 8th to 9th Avenue. As long as Al's back there listening, he'll know to have the necessary paraphernalia up there. Is any discussion on that, council? Okay, give me a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve close Main Street from 2 to 5 p.m. on October 30th for trunk or treat.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Do we need to specify the 800 block? So we don't.
8th to 9th Avenue does that.
Okay, the way it's written in the agenda is Main Street.
I've
Okay,
got it.
okay, fine.
I didn't put the 800 block where the avenue's in because I'm typing away and I go, well, everybody on the council knows what we're closing. Al knows what we're closing. He won't have one block closed and then Belle Plaine Development will be down in the other block going, hey, we're down here. All right. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. I have one other thing. Are you guys gonna meet on the third Tuesday of every
The
month?
third Tuesday of every month as of
Okay,
now.
well, I assumed you met yesterday.
Yes.
I was sick, so I wouldn't have made it
Yes.
anyway, but I'll still try and be there as
Yes.
often as I can. And then, if somebody in Belle Plaine Development can get me another application for membership to Belle Plaine Development, the form you're supposed to, I lost mine.
Oh, okay.
It's not my office. It doesn't seem to be in any special place in my house. Doesn't seem to be with my UNI stuff. So if you'll send me another one or have Judy bring me another one, I'll send you guys a check.
Sounds good.
I'm not protesting Belle Plaine Development. I just couldn't find the thing, which isn't the first time that's happened in my house or in my history of teaching. Okay, with that being said, and as long as Casey's here, we're going to go to agenda item number 11, discuss for approval the day and time for our annual trick or treat hours in the city of Belle Plaine. You have to make the decision, council, whether you're going to set trick or treat for October 30th or October 31st. I mean, it fits nice if you set it for the same day as trunk or treat. Probably makes it easier on the parents. They don't have to get those little ones dressed another night. I think we checked on, there's no school activities, and unless they make the state volleyball tournament, then there would be conflict on the 31st. The public, I don't care when they show up. I'm going to throw them candy. If it's during a football game, I'm going to throw a bag of candy out and say, help yourself.
What did we do last year? Was it the same night?
It was because Halloween was on the weekend. 31st was on the weekend, so it was. In the past, it's been on 2 different days. Trunk or
This would
treat.
be
Yeah,
Monday.
It's gone back
this
and
is on a
forth.
Sunday night. The 30th is on a Sunday.
Right, and
Right.
that's why we
Football
moved trunk or
would be
treat.
Monday.
It's gone back and forth.
Do we normally, if you guys use a weekend for trunk or treat, do we normally go with the 31st?
So the year before last, they were on 2 different nights because it wasn't on a weekend. Last year, they were on the same night because it was a weekend. So we moved trunk or treat way up. We had it at 2 last year because we knew trick or treating was going to be the same night. So we had it at 2. That gave people the time to do that and then head out as well.
Well,
So it's been both ways.
you can do what you want, council. You can correlate with the same day as trunk or treat, or you can go to Monday night.
Not if you want, just a little
You have
insight.
kids, so
My
feel
kids,
free.
they're kind of getting older. They do whatever. One thing, and it doesn't matter to me, may not matter to you, is trunk or treat does draw a lot of outside kids, some Victor kids, some Marengo kids in other towns, small towns. They bring their little kids to trunk or treat, which if it is on the actual trick or treat night, they may not do that because they may stay in their own towns and do their own trick or treating. But who knows? Just so you know, trunk or treat does draw other towns for that event typically. Not saying they won't come and then go back home, but
So it's up to you guys.
I'm kind of favoring the 30th.
Well, Garrett,
31st.
he's
I think one of the potential disadvantages of having it the same night as trunk or treat is that by the time the kids get through the trunk or treat line, their sack is pretty full of candy. And then they may not hit the streets. Because I know in the past, when we've had trunk or treat and then Halloween door to door the same night, we used to get tons of kids down at my house, and it really cuts down the number. And not that that's bad, but then you may have older people in the community who really enjoy having those kids come. Well, they've got a sack full from trunk or treat, they're not coming, so nobody knocks at the door. So, but who knows?
Originally, development group, that was the discussion on why they moved it to always be a weekend, because it used to be always with Halloween. But development group, when they initially moved it to weekend always, was for that reason, so people would do both, because a lot of times they won't then.
So are you a 30th or a 31st?
I haven't decided yet, I'm mulling it over.
What about Mary?
I'm indifferent, but I'm kind of swayed to the separation. Different night.
Well, we're gonna have to, I mean, I don't have to solve it tonight, except it is an agenda item.
I'll go with the 31st.
All right, he's talked to the 31st, so now I got two at the
I
31st.
can go with the 31st, I could actually go with either, because I see.
Yep, she can go. Now somebody give you a motion to do it October 31st from, 5 to 8.
I move to set the city's trick or treat hours for Sunday, October 31st. Monday, October 31st from 5 to 8 p.m.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, it carries 4-0. So you can tell Belle Plaine Development, we're going on the 31st.
Monday, October 31st, 5 to 8. So development group can post that?
Yes,
Because we
yes.
got.
And if you guys got any questions for Belle Plaine Development, I don't know whether I ever said it to your face, but I did say it in my newsletter. You guys did a bang up job, so
Oh,
I
thank you.
thought that was maybe as crowded Main Street as we've had since I can remember. Susquehanna Centennial was probably bigger, but I just thought that we had a ton of people. So I thought you guys did a really good job.
One question we get a lot is music. Where's the music at Main Street? And just to let you guys know, biggest reason we didn't have music is because our laptop system that we were using wasn't functioning right with the sound system. And we did get a grant and we got a new iPad that works with the sound system now, so we may hear music again.
Good.
And that grant was through Main Street.
The grant was through Main Street, Iowa. It was a one-time $1,000 grant. We applied for it and we got an iPad with a stand and everything, so we can live stream events now too. We can take it down to trunk or treat or what have you. We can live stream those events now, use it for music. And then we also purchased about $500 worth of walkie-talkies that you've probably seen us using on the 3rd as well. So that's what we purchased with that grant.
And I had seen those, and I know when you're trying to do an event like that walkie-talkies do become important.
Yeah.
It's trying to call someone's cell phone, see if they're answering it when it's on mute in their pocket. Any questions for Belle Plaine Development? Well, if you don't have any questions for us, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to item 12A, discuss for possible approval, resolution 220906, a resolution to adjust the salary of the Belle Plaine Chief of Police. We discussed this previously. I brought this up to you, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, or whenever the chief was here. We talked about changing his salary so that we don't end up in a situation where one of our officers is getting paid more than our chief, especially when you have a veteran chief. And so Steve and I talked this over. We looked at some number crunches and came up with this new salary of $65,000 per year, which would go into effect October 1st. He would get the same normal raises as our normal staff people get. Well, we have negotiated with the police department for the next 3 years. And then we'll take another look at his base salary again in making him, he has to be the highest paid officer in our group. So is there discussion on this one?
I just want to say, I went back through the report that he gave us, went back through the averages and stuff, and, still the communities of this size are 71,000. And, I'm gonna propose paying 68.5.
Okay, change the resolution to 68.5.
Would that require another look at the figures then? As you and Steve did in coming up with
Oh, I
this?
think we can probably adjust to that, can't we, Steve?
Yeah, Sandy and I'll have to do some crunching tomorrow and
Means the mayor's asking for a raise, he won't get it. Sorry, I got told the other day I get paid $500 a month.
Which?
And I said, no, it's $515 every 3 months. No, it's $500 a month. No, it's not.
Well, I just want, Chris does a lot for the community, and he does a lot for me with my job. I think he does a great job, and I just feel that, especially with the average that he brought in here.
I don't oppose it. And the only reason I came up with 65 was because I was thinking of budget. But 68.5, when I go back and look at that sheet, is much more respectable in terms of other towns around here and looking at his experience.
That's what I was gonna say. I agree with Lyle. I think 68.5 is probably bare minimum. I mean, I'll go with the 68.5, but with his years of service, the things he's done for Belle Plaine over these years, you got chiefs that are making 70, 72 with
With only a couple years.
2 years in.
experience.
I mean, I think we should really take a look at that.
Well,
I mean, he's been dedicated to Belle Plaine. He obviously could have went anywhere else
Mhm.
and jumped $12,000 like that.
68.5 enough, guys.
I think that's the bare bones we do is 68.5. I think our discussion could go up
would
from
it be
there.
looked at?
Budget time,
At budget time? Okay.
so 1st of July, it could be subject to change again.
Well, it'll be subject to change because we already have an agreement. We have a 3-year contract with the police.
Chief isn't on that.
No, but that's what influences the rest of your raises.
But it
You
doesn't.
could change his base at that
Exactly,
time,
you
but
could change his base at that time.
at
Whatever
that
you wanna
time,
do.
though, what they do for their July 1st raise is base it off what we've negotiated with our union.
Can we go 68.5 and look at it again then? And
Well, we can
At budget
bring it
time?
back and you can look to see if you think 70 would be a better place to set it at in the new budget year. We could work around that in planning the budget.
I'd be in favor of that.
Well, we'll just keep that in mind when we do the budget, that we're looking for, put in your notes that we're looking to change his salary to 70.
It would probably be that anyway.
Well, that's true too. Probably would with whatever you've got going, but make sure he's at least at 70, July 1st. And this one will change to 68.5. Is that all right? Then I need a motion to approve resolution 220906 with the figure changed to 68.5 and a notation that we are going to look at a minimum $70,000 salary in the new budget year.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 220906 to adjust the salary of the police chief to 68.5 effective immediately, and to look at raising that to 70,000 July 1st. of 23.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
chief.
you.
Thank you, chief.
You know that new car you wanted? Just kidding. Okay, we're going on to a fun one here. Open the new police car bids.
Ooh.
Bring those in.
Yep, 3.
I am not sure that 2 of them are 2 different bids or.
I don't know, we'll find out when we open it up. They must have thought that,
They didn't want you in there.
yeah. Military secrets in here.
Could be.
All right, this one's from Tice. $48,081. The hell does it say what kind it is? Well, this is from Tice for a 2023 Chevy Tahoe, 4-wheel drive, 4-door commercial. That is probably why there's 2 Tice bids.
Is our current Tahoe 4-wheel drive or just 2-wheel? Is it 4?
Actually, is a Chevy called all-wheel drive because they don't make 4-wheel drive in those.
Sure.
Well, they don't, because if I could get an Equinox with 4-wheel drive, I'd buy one. This is from Chris Hudson. No, it's from Bell Plain Chevy.
Jeez.
$40,882. Appraisal will be provided for the 19 Tahoe when the 22 Tahoe has been built. Expect arrival in spring at 23. Uplift equipment swap will be handled directly with Carl Emergency Vehicles.
So this is a 22.
I think it's a 23. It arrives in the spring of 23. No, it's a 22.
That's what I thought you said. 22 will be 19 will appraise when the 22 arrives in 23 is what I thought you said. So it's a 22.
Imagine this is going to be a Durango.
Oh, this is more Tice.
Yeah.
Another Tice.
One was from Blairstown and one was from,
We couldn't get any of those Ford dealers to send anything.
No.
Either don't want.
Oh well.
My understanding, they didn't bid to the sheriff's office either.
is it because of availability or?
There's a big availability problem right now with all.
So they just don't have any to sell, so why buy bid on them
Well,
or?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really talk to anybody at length.
Gotcha.
This is a bid, but-
Sure.
Okay. A 2023 Durango Pursuit Vehicle, AWD, all-wheel drive. Either the V6 price is $39,806 for a V6, or you can get a V8 Hemi for $42,412. Prices are subject to change depending on time of approval, date ordered, or any unexpected production changes. Ordering is expected to commence in October with proposed building times being December, January. Current estimation for delivery would be early spring 23. However, that's just an estimate. So,
I guess I have one question. Is the first bid we opened, or no? Was it the first one? The one that said Carl Chevrolet would be doing the complete upfit on that. Were they are all these including the upfit in the price? Or
No,
It's a bare
No.
vehicle.
bare vehicle.
okay,
It's just the vehicle.
So they're
But
all,
the one was, right?
The one was because it was going through Carl.
Okay.
for that price, or not for that price?
You'd have to look at the bid, but I doubt it's for that price because they don't
Okay.
know what would transfer and what would
Okay.
transfer as far as.
Okay.
equipment.
All right,
That's
that
The
would be
internal
great.
equipment, once they change the inside,
Yeah.
the dimensions
Equipment
change.
purchase in upfit would be, above and beyond the car price.
Okay,
So we're looking at 39 through 48.
Mayor, could you briefly go over them again as far as the prices? We don't have to go through the specs.
give me the first one, which was a Tice bid. First Tice bid on Chevy Tahoe is 48,081. And that comes with a V8. So that one's with a V8. Anything else you want out of that one?
That was a 23.
Yeah. And then this is the one from Belle Plaine Motors, which is going to be the Tahoe 2, which is going to be for $40,882. And
That was a 22. for us.
22.
I can find the engine on it. Engine V8. So it's a V8 too. Then the other two you got offered were the Durangos, one at 39,806 and one at 42,412. The more expensive one's a Hemi with the V8 Hemi, and the other one is a V6. And it is, and that's the one that's got hopefully a December, January date, but no, delivery will be early spring 2023. And that's an estimate.
You're probably looking at that from everybody
I
though,
was gonna
didn't you say?
Yeah.
I think even the one that's a 22.
In your spec, was it 22 or 23?
23.
I think it was 23. Mhm. But I'm not even sure they're available.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and check. There's a huge price difference in that 23 versus the 22.
can you pass those around, or?
Yeah.
A little over $7,000.
Look at all those you want, and then we'll make a decision, guys.
Have you ever had a Durango?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
We had a lot of problems with it, to say the least. But it was the first SUV we had, and that's kind of what started us on the SUV thing. More practical.
thinking there was one here at one time.
Was it always problematic or just later on in its?
Mm, no, I don't think it was always that way.
That was when we were on 5-year rotation.
Yeah.
You have a preference?
I love that Tahoe drive. Just saying. Been a good vehicle.
And what are we gonna do with the old, we're gonna sell the old one outright on our own, on Gov Deals or Purple Wave or something like that?
You can do trade-in or you can sell it outright. Mike looked at it for trade-in possibility and then so did Scott.
Okay. A lot of municipalities are using Purple Wave these days. For their Purple Wave auctions. They sell all their used equipment on Purple Wave.
We've used Gov Deals before.
Did
Purple Wave, I mean, they're good.
Did we
Nationwide.
put in for
Yes.
2023? Then we really can't accept this Bellplain bid for a 22, can we?
You said we can or cannot? Can? Yeah, but to spend the extra 8 to go to a 23, does that benefit us on the backside
For trade-in in
for
the
trade
future.
wise? That's something else that we'd have to think about.
Yeah,
But you wouldn't.
but wow. The hell was the bid on this one?
About 41.
The Durango? Oh, the 40.
4882 versus 48081
Mhm.
versus the two Tahoes.
Just in a year's difference.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that if you're gonna look at the Durango, you're gonna look at the Hemi.
I have something to point out. So I went back to my emails. That bid from Bellplain Motors should be a 23 model, not a 22, because that's specifically what I sent them. I sent them the spec sheet for the 2023 model, so I think we should probably clarify that with them before. I mean, if you want to table it for tonight, that's fine, you know, but I think we should clarify that because that's confusing.
Could be typo.
But the only thing they can clarify is.
The year.
Yeah,
The
is
year,
this a
yeah.
2022 or a 2023?
I would call Scott.
I mean,
myself,
that-
I don't have his contact.
Then if this is a 23 that you're gonna get for $40,880 versus 48.
Yeah.
There's no real call on that one. Then you have
Correct.
to decide what you're gonna do between the Durango and,
And you said you're liking the Tahoe versus the Durango that we had.
I mean, the tile's bigger,
That's,
you know, but you have it. Mm, what you got?
Did that 22 bid sheet say something about ordering time and I guess build time and then delivery in the spring for
yes,
the 22? Well, wouldn't it make sense that they would be building a 22 now?
yeah.
I bet you it's a typo, but that's a big difference in price, so.
That's why I was saying they're all delivered about the same time and probably the same year.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you think they'd have 22.
well, do we hold these until we find out for sure on,
I think we
I think
should.
so.
I think so.
Yeah,
can do that.
There's that one there.
thank you.
Chief, I'm gonna let you make the check with Bellplain.
I'm gonna call him right now.
Okay, call him right now. We need to get this done tonight.
Yeah, because his cover page says 22, but like Gage is saying, you're not building, well, right now, they're not even building 22s. They're
No.
building 23s right now.
Well, depending on which
Normally.
car
You,
you're.
well, that's true, yeah, normal.
Colorado's are not building 23s yet. They don't start building those until January.
Really?
I did talk to, the grant people today, and Chief and I got some information to them that we were supposed to do before, the bid process, but since we got it done before the bids were open, she was cool with that.
Okay,
So we are on board with that. So the next step is, once a selection is made, we have to send 2 or 3 sentence paragraph signed by the mayor explaining why council chose the bid that it chose.
Mhm.
And then we have to show that we had requested 3 bids. Actually, we requested from 3 different people. Fortunately, Tice gave us 2, so we have our 3 bids anyway.
Uh-huh.
Showing that we had sent it out to 3 different people, and that 2 of them responded. So I have all that ready to go.
I suppose.
If we're not ready to go this week, we'll send it,
I suppose that's why the Ford dealers didn't, if there's such a back order on those Fords. They probably didn't want to do.
Sorry. I got a question about the packages. Are they the same package?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
Because maybe that's why
I
you
know
got
what
a
was-
different price
I know what was
difference.
submitted
Okay,
was identical.
I mean,
okay.
they were given the same bid sheet to fit
Mhm.
these things
Okay.
now.
Exact specs.
Right.
I mean, they were told like
Mhm.
23
Police
Chevy
package,
Tahoe,
PPV.
police package, so the choices
Yeah,
of that make.
that way there's not one saying, oh, this is a V6, this is a V8, standard brakes, police brakes, etc.
Whether they are or not, that they were given this exact same spec.
I hate doing this because you know you're gonna piss somebody. Sorry about that, folks.
Well, I mean,
It's a 23 model.
It's a 23 model?
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
Alrighty,
That
well.
is the 23 model. So your choices now are a 2023 at $40,882 from Belle Plaine, a Tahoe from Tice at $48,081, a V6 Durango at $39,806, or a Hemi. I always love saying that. They were owned one. I always loved saying it. 42,412 V8 Hemi. Friends that had them, but always sounded meaner. Well, I got a Hemi. So you can make your choice.
well, if the guy's using the vehicle like a Tahoe, I think a Tahoe is the direction to go for sure.
Well, if you're comparing all of the V8s, because comparing a V6 to a V8 really isn't fair, but if you compare all the V8s, regardless of whether it's Tahoe or Durango, the plain Chevy Buick's Tahoe is still the lowest bid.
And we can't, Chief told me they couldn't catch anyone anyway, so you don't want a 6-cylinder, we can't catch anything. We want to catch those kids on bikes.
They're in trouble.
Ran into a whole group of them up on 17th Street tonight. They're listening though, they were all on the correct side of the road.
Oh,
So I need a motion then as to which bid to accept.
I move to approve the bid from Belle Plaine Chevy Buick for the 23 Tahoe for $40,882.
Is there a second to that bid?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
I will get with our grant people. You want me to draft something for you to sign?
Sure. Chief, was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Not specifically, no. I'll have several things for the October meeting.
Okay.
One of the things that's kind of going to work out is with our 3-year rotation is we're going to have a lot better trade-in value. I just kind of looked at some online, and when we used to trade in the car, they were
Rotation now.
sorry, they used to be pretty much worthless.
Oh.
They had no trade-in value.
Well, item one, you were trading cars.
Right,
If
I'm
you were
just-
trading a car in, you'd still find you're not getting.
I'm just saying that strategy
But
seems to be
going
working.
the
Yeah,
SUV
we can
gives
stay
you
with
more
that for sure.
valuable. I mean, an SUV is a fancy truck.
The old rotation was unreasonable. I mean, you had to make a vehicle go 6 years, which is, I mean, that fourth.
They were nickel and diming us.
The last.
so
two
you-
years
Without a
was
doubt.
just horrible.
The
Yeah,
change
your
to this,
maintenance
but then
is
you
just
you
too
also
much.
upgraded to when you got away from, General Motors is down to almost not producing cars. Produce pickups, trucks and SUVs. Corvette, the Camaro, but those are separate by themselves. I get most of my car information from Mr. Carr of Keota, Iowa. All right, let's go to agenda item number 13. Discuss for possible approval the second reading of ordinance 2211 and ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Belle Plaine, Iowa by amending the provisions pertaining to parking regulations. This deals with 16th Street parking in the school bus stop area. Questions? Discussion? Motion.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 22-11.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Have we had any complaints about that school stop area?
Up here on 16th? No,
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. No.
Okay,
How's it working, Lyle?
Great.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, a little better than I really expected, to be
Excellent.
honest with you. So,
well and good. We're going to 13th B. Discuss for possible approval to waive the third and final reading of ordinance 2211 and ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Belle Plaine, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to parking regulations. Is there a motion for that?
I motion for approval to waive the third and final reading of ordinance 2211.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. I had to remind myself. Discuss for possible approval the first reading of ordinance 2213 and ordinance amending the code of ordinance by amending provisions pertaining to yard waste, primarily removing all language concerning a burn pile. Don't know how that slipped by us, why it was still in there, but there has not been a burn pile for 15 years. So Sandy's done a nice job of going through and highlighting for you what's coming out. You might as well take it out because we were told no burn pile. Discussion. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2213.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. Aha. Discuss for possible approval to waive the second reading of ordinance 2213 and ordinance amending the code of ordinances by amending provisions pertaining to yard waste. And in fact, all you're doing is cleaning up our ordinance book. But you're just doing what we legally do already. You're just getting this stuff out of here that didn't belong there. Discussion on why I'm going to waive right away. Is there a motion?
I move to approve waiving the second reading of ordinance 2213.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0. Discuss for possible approval to waive the third and final reading of ordinance 2213 and ordinance amending the code of ordinances by amending provisions pertaining to yard waste. This will put it into effect as soon as we publish it. Motion.
I move to approve waiving the third and final reading of ordinance 2213.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. That is done. Okay, discuss for possible approval of the development agreement for Wiley Plaza LLC Hilltop Apartments recommendations for a resolution of approval. I discovered in discussion with some of our council that they really didn't understand TIF. So there is a handout that they gave you tonight. This handout from Cole Morgan's explains the TIF stuff. So if you want to look that over or ask Gage questions here, all you're doing is approving what's here so it can be put into resolution form so we can get it into effect for Wiley Plaza. Is that correct, Steve?
That's correct.
I think the outline does, or the memo that Jennifer, or I handed out this evening, gives a good idea of kind of explaining the basics of TIF. If I can answer any, if you have no questions about how TIF works. But I know Jennifer and Steve are working on the actual details of it for quite some time now, so.
Hopefully this will make them happy.
So
It's filling up, I've heard too. So
Good.
So in years, I understand the abatement. That's just pretty much cut and dried. We're given the numbers from the county, basically.
Right.
In conjunction with our ordinance. And this is just an observation or question on my part. Years 1 through 3, the number is the same, and then it steps down in years 4, 5, and 6, and then again steps down for the last 4 years.
correct.
Is that discretionary or?
So it's kind of a sliding scale, much like our tax abatement, so that it kind of phases the money that we are going to receive up. It ramps it up as the valuation hopefully climbs, so that we can pay off debt that we've borrowed against projects that are in the urban renewal zone that we set up earlier for that northeast quadrant.
So what determines the change from year 3 to year 4? You know, it steps down. Is that? is
That's
that-
our proposal.
It's just
It's a sliding scale that we,
it's discretionary on our part.
yes,
Could it go the whole 10 years at the top level?
we wouldn't have any, we wouldn't be able to pay off any debt.
True, but it would, if it was a project we wanted bad enough, you could do that with TIF, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like originally the phase one was going to be this project, and then phase two was going to be, they were going to build off to the north another a larger facility, potentially like a 2-story or a series of townhomes. They had talked about anywhere from 20, 40 to even more units. So this was the phase one. Since it has had kind of a slow start, they're kind of waiting to see what happens with this before they move to the next step.
Have they been presented these numbers yet?
I don't believe so.
I don't know. I think there was an email, and wasn't there an email in your council packet from Jennifer that said that these proposals had not been presented yet?
That's what I recall.
I think that's.
She wanted our.
We wanted everybody
So
to,
we've given them no idea what numbers we're even thinking about.
we didn't know what we had to work with until, so just to step back, that building was placarded because it was probably slated for demolition. So I talked to Larry Andreessen and got the valuation taken down from like 600,000 or whatever it was to 100,000, which was essentially the value of the property. And then they bought it for the price they bought it, and then they put in over $1 million into it.
So they won't see.
So we had to
they
get-
won't see these values until we pass a resolution authorizing.
Correct.
Okay.
There was something else I was going to add.
Or do we give them these values and say this is going to the council in a resolution next week?
However you all prefer to do it. We're just coming up with something that we think is manageable for us to be able to kind of spur some economic development in that quadrant and give them a tax incentive. And this is basically our only economic development tool that we have available to us is TIF.
So what could they counter us with, I guess, or what? So if we give them these numbers, what could they say different, I guess?
They could ask for more of a rebate.
Right, so if you look at the last paragraph of the letter, it says, you know, the above is an example what it would look like. We're looking for a positive or negative response from council, whether you're willing to rebate up to 150 over the next 10 years.
So the mayor's right. You could rebate more to incentivize them to do another project. Because the next project would have to be paid for with TIF, because we'd have to put a street in, water, sewer behind there to get people back to.
But increasing the rebate doesn't help that happen, because that doesn't help us have more money. If you're increasing the rebate, you're paying them more money.
Right. I'm just,
Right, you're incentivizing them.
You're incentivizing them to do something, not, there's no additional funds for us to help them.
no,
do that.
I'm saying we're incentivizing development. But this is something that Jennifer thought was fair based on, so we consulted with Dorsey on this every step of the way, because neither one of us are anywhere close to being experts, and Dorsey works on these things every day, all day long. So
They are the expert, whether the Myra City you work for, it's like
they basically work with the state legislature to figure out how this is going to work. So this isn't something we pulled out of our hat.
Well, I think we should put it in resolution form and present it to them. And hopefully that'll get them off your phone line.
Well, I always appreciate hearing from people that's not a problem.
Gage, are you guys gonna write that, or you need us?
I don't know. I assume that
Dorsey away?
Where's Dorsey and Whitney gonna write that, which means it won't come in till Thursday afternoon
I
at
think-
3:35.
I know at one time they had wrote a resolution, but I don't know. We can circle back and check on that. Yeah,
Basically, we either approve this or we don't tonight, and then we can pick up the ball from there.
right. As far as who writes the resolution, we'll figure that out. But as long as the council's good with that amount and over that 10-year period, then we know which direction we're moving forward.
I would suggest council keep this tip sheet handy. So every time it comes up, we know what we're talking.
We're gonna be doing a lot more of it, hopefully.
Is there a motion to approve this TIF proposal?
I'll make a motion to approve the TIF proposal.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. You guys figure out who's writing the resolution and when you're ready to send it to us. And we'll go on from there. Okay, 16, discuss for possible approval, resolution 220907, a resolution authorizing Mayor Dave Fish to conduct business with the United States Department of Agriculture, here known as Farmer Dave.
Sounds like big business to
That's a
me.
joke, folks. If you aren't asleep out there by now.
We have 3 tuning in.
It's so when
One of
we
them's me.
start making moves for Department of Agriculture,
Grants and
grants and stuff for our wells, anything in the well area that we have to have someone authorized to sign it. So I told her, go ahead and put my name on it. They will be coming for, I believe, what they're calling their final water study report in the next council meeting. They wanted to be here tonight, and I got that word too late, and I said, no way you're coming. Not with packed agenda we have. So we just need a motion on this one.
I move to approve resolution 220907.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? No, I'm not buying a farm. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Discuss for possible approval, resolution 220908, a resolution adjusting garbage fees for extra items. And I'm going to turn that over to your financial consultant in here. And she can tell you what's been happening in the world of garbage costs for the city of Belle Plaine.
Yeah, our fund continues to run negative, really not keeping pace. We kind of touched on this last time a little bit, knowing that we're gonna have to come up with some ideas. Looked over a lot of stuff, reviewed some stuff with Steve on options. Talked to Dave some about options, and we think one of the things that will help, the free item thing, although it's a great idea and the couple handfuls of customers that use it, I'm sure like it, but if we continue to do that, it's gonna impact all of the residents of Belle Plaine because we can't just continue to absorb those tipping fees. You know, when you spend almost $30,000 in tipping fees a year, that's just a lot of garbage that, you know, some of which is not being paid for by.
I mean, they threw that curveball past the city council. We jumped
Snuck that
on when
in.
it said, you each get one free item to send to the dump every month. It's all right, that takes care of citywide cleanup until we figured out, remember,
The city's paying for it.
the city, well, and we also, the landfill changed ownership, and we put tipping fees in over there, which they weren't doing before. And so all of a sudden, my thoughts always were Republic was gonna pick up the cost. They were gonna pay for that truck that went through. Ha ha, Mayor, that didn't work. It was, yeah, it's a freebie. We're using our truck and our gas and our workers, but you guys are gonna pay the tipping fee. Well, as you can see on here, it's about $30,000 we spend annually.
But that's just the $30,000 for all garbage.
That is all garbage,
Not
that's
the
not
extra
all the free items, but, the tipping fees have gone up. I'm gonna say close to $12,000 year over year, or previous situation over current situation. You know, we were averaging, $2,000 a month in tipping fees, and now we're over $3,000.
And I originally proposed we just raise the rates $1 a month on everyone. And Sandy pointed out, why should the people who don't use this service have to subsidize? And I said, okay, I can understand that.
It also, the current program says you can have one item a month. Well, sometimes you have people that would like to get rid of more than that, and there's no avenue for that right now. Whereas if we impose a fee, okay, we get more than one thing, fine. You can pay $5 for your 4 things that you want to put out today.
And it won't change the fees that you still have to do on electronics, because
Right,
that's,
it doesn't affect that, that's
that's
set.
set.
Yeah.
So this would be like old mattresses, tables, chairs.
Sofa.
Yeah.
All the stuff that doesn't fit in your garbage can, that doesn't fit in a sack.
And if you're running the sofa out of here for $5, that's a pretty good deal in comparison to taking it over and paying the $10 tipping fee at county to get rid of it.
Plus gas to get over there and back, and you gotta have a truck. So I mean, I still think it's a good deal for the citizens, but I mean, obviously it's not free, but it's still pretty low.
Well, I think it does take care of where we came into problems 8-9 years ago. One of the arguments, we didn't have a citywide cleanup. And the early council argued with the older council on why we didn't, because they used some bogus figures on what it actually cost. And so when we looked for getting a new garbage contract, we were looking for someone that could help us out. This still provides us probably the best. I see these other towns that have these cleanup days, but they do it once a year. Our people can get rid of this stuff all the time. So I think we have the best of both worlds, and we don't have to have our crew try and figure out how we're gonna haul stuff out of here and get it to the landfill and all that special stuff, the electronics, the tires, all those things cost those same amounts over at the landfill. So
We also talked about not putting it in effect till November 1st, so there's a little bit of heads up to people. It's not, oh, by the way, tomorrow, we're not doing it anymore. So I'll give,
Time to clean out.
5, 6
yeah,
years.
so if you
But
got,
again, they
if
only
you've
get
been
one
thinking
thing,
about getting
so
rid of that
it's not like they're gonna
mattress
be able to
in
get rid of
the,
a lot of
in the
stuff, but
back bedroom, get rid of it in October.
So the intention here is to have this be policy, at least at this point from now until the end of the garbage contract, or
right, so from November 1st to the end of the contract, which is June 30th. And then obviously whatever the new contract is, whether it's with Republic or somebody else, we'll revisit that.
yeah. 'Cause it really, not necessarily a permanent $5 fee, it could be way different.
I think somebody's gonna come by and give us really a free deal.
No, I think they're gonna give us a deal that
Higher,
makes
more
the,
expensive deal.
fee a lot higher. That's what I think. So, I mean, this is kind of a temporary fix.
Well, this is a fix for our budget.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it'll quite get us flush by the end of the year, but it'll definitely get us way moving in the right direction.
Any further discussion? If there isn't, I'm looking for a motion on this one.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 220908.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Last chance for discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. You have your treasurer's report, your city budget report. And I guess I should ask, where are we at on solar report?
I should have it by the second October meeting.
We are supposed to be going off of the demand rate
Yeah.
code. Okay, good. We received a credit.
Yeah.
Good. So that'll dramatically change. I mean, the solar report with demand rate code would have been completely out of whack.
Do we have questions? Treasurer's report, budget report. Assume the plus here is when you're looking at garbage figures, will solve some of that problem.
Hope so.
Actually, the ability to take something out to the curb and throw it out there for $5. It's a lot easier than driving it to the landfill. Well, you guys tell me when you're ready to go on to the next agenda. Swing the camera over on the chief and say, now a word from our sponsor.
anything unusual you want to point out, Sandy?
Some things that might look unusual to you, you'll notice general fund has a negative balance, it's a timing thing. Most people pay their taxes. So the bigger number will show up in October for coming in. Road use tax, again, like I mentioned last time, it's negative because we spent
Yeah,
a big chunk of the budget up front, but it comes in kind of spread all the way across the year.
we spent pretty much all up front, didn't we?
All of the repair stuff. We already talked about garbage, those were kind of the standouts. Revenues are tracking just slightly under plan. Again, given the way taxes come in, I expect that to remedy itself next month.
Do we have any business incentive grant applications
They're coming,
currently?
There are some out there,
There
yeah.
are, okay.
and without having a development director, Steve and I are gonna work on them. I'm just gonna be brought straight to the council.
There are also a couple of, actually, I think if I was part of this, somebody have to come to council. Maybe they don't have to. We have a couple of home revitalization grants out there. That'll be paid out. One for sure will be paid out probably next month.
These are things that have been approved and haven't.
We were just waiting for the, to get completed.
Right.
And I know one of them was completed, I think, last week, so. Just waiting for bills.
Okay, go to the Hatchet place. I sent you out a new thing for them because it wasn't, this one that on here wasn't completed. It said for possible approval, Class B beer permit with Sunday Sales with Valhalla Hatchet LLC at 805 12th Street. But that's also a Class C native wine permit, and outdoor service is to be added to that too. So note that you are voting on more than just what was listed on the agenda. I did not have this sheet that I handed out to you at the time. Any problems associated with the Hatchet place and alcohol? Can I get a motion?
My motion for approval of Class B beer permit, Sunday sales, Class C native wine permit for Valhalla Hatchets, 805 12th Street.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Discuss for approval a tax abatement under Belle Plaine revitalization plan for Randy and Mary Rethman at 306 13th Street, Belle Plaine. A plus coming out of the derecho. I'm sure when it first happened, they didn't see it as a plus, but I'm sure they do now since they've been in their new house for a year. But it also looks nice sitting on 13th Street. So I'm glad they applied for this. Questions on this tax abatement? If not, I need a motion on that one.
I'll motion for approval of tax abatement for 306 13th Street.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. Discuss for possible approval. The purchase of SoundSense Eye, a machine to make leak detection easy and efficient for the Belle Plaine Water Department, a cost-saving equipment. Steve, take it away.
All right, we have been looking at this stuff for a long time. This is what's known as a correlating noise logger, and we had previously spent quite a bit of money hiring this stuff out. Essentially what this does, if you see this picture here, there's 4 loggers and they communicate back to the base model. So you put those down on water main valves or on a fire hydrant or anywhere you can get access to a water main in an area that you're trying to scan, and it will listen for leaks. And then it correlates it and triangulates it and gives you a measurement back so you can try to figure out, because if you have a water main break that never surfaces, you cannot find it. This finds them when they're underground. Al has witnessed this equipment in the works, and I just keep, I just keep having them come out so we can just test it and test it and test it. And they, the company that came in with the lowest bid actually, in my opinion, provided the best customer service, and they are out here regularly. And they actually showed us how to operate some of our other equipment more efficiently and better that we had been using for years, our locating.
So how does this relate to the guy that you're always calling to, when you really got a problem and can't solve it? Does he use this, or?
He has something similar to this. He has a ground mic. This is a different kind of a thing.
Okay.
But I'm not saying we'll never need to call him again, but this is something that, when we had the water leak that Jay and Nick found on 9th Avenue, that was our first dig with our team, that was not surfacing. And they found that just by looking through storm sewers and sanitary sewers and looking for irregular flows, and then sampling the water in those areas to find if there's a chlorine residual. And then we kind of just tried to figure out where it was at.
And how'd you do that? How'd you figure out where it was at? With what?
Yeah, we started breaking up. We got a locator out and located the existing lines. We thought it was a service line because it was a smaller leak. But the way the lines run underground, they're all over the place. So if we would have had this on the Sunday before Labor Day, we probably could have saved 1 to 2 sections of concrete. You think that's fair, Al?
That's a fair figure, yes.
Because when we had that Sunday water main leak, the water was actually bubbling out uphill from where the main break was. It just follows the path of least resistance. So we just broke out there, which is the logical place. That's where the water's coming out. And then next thing you know, it's over here. And we had to take out three panels.
That's actually on a level piece of cement, where sometimes you have them on a
Yeah.
slight slope. It's, especially in the wintertime, it's very hard, when ground freezes and, I was really impressed with this.
So where do you put this?
So the loggers, they're magnetic, and they log information, and they also transmit signals. So you'll lower them down into like a valve box with a chain, and they'll stick down on the pipe or wherever you put them on a hydrant.
Okay, so if you put this down in a valve box, probably 60% of the valve boxes in town are full of dirt and shit and everything else. So you're not gonna get it down there. Another thing too is aren't we using Iowa Rural Water Association? Don't we call them in at times? Or
We
paying
can-
an annual fee to them?
We can call them in if they're available.
And they do the water checks for free.
That's correct. They have a ground mic. This is a correlator. So-
We're paying a membership to the Rural Water Association, and they're coming in and doing these checks for free. Why would we spend 10 to 12 grand on this?
Because we could do the whole town with it. And to your point about the valve boxes being full, as we look those over and inspect them, we have a way to clean those out. And when there's one that's bad, we try to replace it as soon as we can. So you're correct that they are, but even if we have a water main break, like you have to clean it out. So let's say it's in a place where sand washes in, you still have to clean them out. So if you absolutely couldn't, you could put it on a hydrant. So this would be a way that we could start checking all of town. And so with rural water, they'll come out for like an afternoon, but they aren't going to come out and spend any great amount of time.
Well,
And Steve Hively,
like that Sunday situation, would they have come out then?
and no. And if we would have called Steve Hively, that would have probably cost
Maybe 15 to 2.
$2,000.
I mean, he's good. I mean, Steve knows that too. He's a very good,
Yeah,
he's done a lot for us on the highways, that was, but,
I strongly believe this, if you look at the water fund and the things that we've been doing and the strategies we've been utilizing to replenish that, it's working. This is a tool that'll get us to the next level, because we still, when we did our last audit, we were at 60% loss. Granted, we've put in meters in places and tried to find places that didn't have meters, get meters in there, and trying to manually, by kind of like dumb luck, find water main leaks that aren't surfacing. We're going to be doing another.
I don't think this is the tool right now to use, maybe in the future. Because if you cannot, you're gonna have to clean out where that box is to get this to work there. Or you're gonna have to, it's magnetic, so it's gonna have to be physically put on a pipe to find a leak. Correct?
Yeah, so it can be put on a pipe, it can be put on a hydrant, it can be put on a valve top. So we have, in the past, when I was the water guy, to clean out a valve box, we just used a tool and it would take a long time. Now we've got a auger bit that can kind of auger down the dirt inside and pull it out and clean it out pretty quickly. So
I mean, don't you think that 10 or 12 grand could be spent better elsewhere? We need equipment. We're borrowing equipment from a guy that we're not even paying for.
this will help us get there faster. And we're working on a plan with the equipment. So we're in the process of getting quotes for, mini excavator, getting rid of some trucks that we don't use, trying to price out skid loaders so that we can truly perform all of our own repairs. We were going from paying, I don't know, for a water main break by the time we hired a crew out and then had the concrete, we were paying $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 for one water main repair. So just the water department fixing the leak.
We're talking about this right now. And I am not seeing where this money is going to be spent. It's a wise decision. When we need other stuff worse, including equipment, because regardless, we're going to have to dig. So yes, I think this is a good tool in the future, but I don't think it's a good tool now.
I am going off of the recommendations of our I think our entire public works department.
I was just wondering, Steve, just to get back what Lyle said, do we have a contract with Steve Hively for so long? I was just asking that for that. As far as going.
I haven't seen anything from him. I mean, it's kind of like,
when that would end too, that might.
it's like an on-call thing as far as I know.
But I didn't know if we had a contract for a yearly check or not.
We haven't signed anything with him
Okay,
lately,
that's
so
fine. Just thought I'd
it
ask.
might just kind of carry over.
What's the name of the company?
It's from Madrid, Iowa, Steve Hively.
I can get that for you tomorrow. I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
What's the life expectancy of this machine?
I'd say at least 10 to 15 years. I think it would pay for itself in the first 4 or 5 leaks.
Would this be used only if we knew we had a water leak somewhere, or would it be used to routinely check the system as a preventative measure?
It would be routine. So one of the things that we have a position open right now, so we don't have full staff, but I'll be getting into that in my report. Once we get back to full staff, you know, when we were at full staff, when we hired Jay, then that freed up Jay and Nick to go out and look for leaks, just try to find them. So one of the things that Nick has been able to do since Jay has come along has been like exercising fire hydrants and valves and cleaning valves out and mapping them. So one of the things we're trying to do is do GIS mapping. So basically you take a reading of where the valve is or where the hydrant is, and you put it on a map, a digital map that you can then get data off of, like what size it is, when was the last time it was exercised, so we can get to some of these things that the DNR was really pushing us on when we did the viability assessment. So as they do, you know, they'll have their daily rounds, and then we'll have our periodic projects. We'll have emergencies as they pop up, but this would be part of the routine of like, these guys want to find these leaks because we are still, I talked to them today about this and some other things. But we're getting to the point where we're probably going to have to turn on well 6 in the next month or so, depending on how things go. Because we haven't had a lot of precipitation, but that would be built into their, and with the new person, they would go with Nick or Jay or all of them and run the correlator and try to figure out and map out.
How much is the battery replacement on it?
That I'm not certain of.
It's only got a 5-year battery span.
It was brought up that we pay a membership. Will we stay in that membership then, or is that something that we do now so we can have that service, I guess?
That's something that we don't necessarily have to be involved in, but we're involved in so that we can go to, that gives us discounts on like CEUs and things like that. So it's a membership, like gym membership, I guess. I don't know. So you can like use it however you really need to use it. But for instance, when we had the leak at the pool, I asked them if we could use a smoke machine to try to pressurize the pipes at the pool, so to see where the smoke would come out. Mm-hmm. And they luckily had one available, and we got it out of Washington, and then we had to give it back right away, you know. So there's 1 or 2 guys across our area, and usually every time I call him, he's up in Northeast Iowa. So, and they use more of like a ground mic. So they're just like listening to, I haven't interacted with them a lot. I have a lot more experience with Steve Hively.
What does that membership run? Do you have any idea?
I can't recall off the top of my head.
Ballpark.
I would have to look. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Like 200 or 2,000?
It's probably like 1,000, 500 to 1,000. If I had to guess.
Start that membership?
As long as
you guys have been here.
As long as I've known.
So it's been an ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just a flat fee, wasn't it, Steve?
For the membership?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on the size of your
You have as
town.
Many people, up to a certain amount on.
Yeah, it's like if you have 1,000 to 2,500 people, you pay this. If it's 5,000 people, you pay this. If it's 10,000 people, you pay that.
Well, I can see the council is kind of spinning their wheels here on this particular item. Why don't we just put it on hold and bring it back when our other members here, and you get some of the questions they had, like battery life and those type of things, and maybe figure out a little more detail how much you can definitely save in 6 months' time using it.
I'll try real hard to do that. I don't know how many leaks we have. That's the problem.
Well, go back and look at the number of leaks that we've had that we could have discovered earlier with this. Come up with some,
I'll try to come up with a complete cost of ownership for 5 years and 10 years and
come up with some evidence based on what we know over leaks previous, where it would have, we know the one on Labor Day weekend, that would have saved us at least 3 hours.
yeah, and about $8,000 in concrete probably.
So we know that one, this would have been a big savings. See if you can find in 6 months' time, 4 or 5 situations where that comes out. But let's bring it back up.
I got one more question.
Okay.
Do other municipalities around us have this? And if not, are we in the agreement with that Williamsburg about renting out or loaning out equipment? Because weren't we doing something with that where?
Yeah, but we don't have any 2080 agreement.
We don't have a 2080 agreement because we couldn't do that until Nick was fully licensed.
Okay.
Nick's fully licensed now.
Okay,
And we're not full staff yet, so we're not in a position to send anybody anywhere yet.
okay,
So once we have a license, so if they borrowed Nick for a couple days a week to go look over their sewer plant or, do inspections for them, we then wouldn't have anybody that is certified in our town.
okay,
In the DNR, we're kind of like a pilot program. So if we have somebody else that's certified, they're going to let us try this out to see how it works. And then we can have a sharing agreement.
okay.
You
I was
know,
just kinda on
2080. Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I'm just saying.
Well, he
as
does
to-
bring up a question. Are there other towns that use this? If so, who? And call them and get some reference from them
Sure.
on what they think it saved them. But we need
That's
a lot
fine.
more details. The councils listen, they're doing their homework, which is what they're supposed to do as council members. So I'm just gonna allow that one to be tabled, and I'll bring it up to you in October when he tells me he's ready to present again, and I have the full council here. With that being said, Steve, you're up. City Administrator's report. I guess start with where we're at on the filter project.
All right. So we had a couple of pumps go down at the sewer plant. So that putting our test filter online back a few days. I talked to Jay about that.
Yeah, and before he goes into that, how many emergency calls did Nick have over the weekend on failure of pumps at the sewer plant?
42.
I was gonna say, I knew it was 42 or 43. The warning system works. It's calling him and saying, hey, this isn't working, and he's got to respond. So when guys think about the people we have on duty on the weekend, taking care of sewer and water, and there was a prime case of, I think Nick was a little frustrated when I talked to him on Monday about how many times that he had to go out there, and with some pumps that failed, and I don't know whether they ever figured out why or whether they just wore out. But I just think that's what we don't know as the administration, is how we rely on those guys. And that's why if you're on duty, you can't go to Cedar Rapids and shop. And it's a discussion that we have when we're interviewing people for this new position about well, if you don't live in Belle Plaine, you know, how fast can you get here? Because as Nick says, we need you here in 15 minutes. We can't have you here in 35 minutes. That's too late if it's a major thing goes wrong out at the sewer plant. So, not to interrupt you, Steve.
No, that's okay.
I know, talking with Nick the other day before our interview, I was just shocked at how many times his alarm went off.
Yeah, so that's the sensiphone. So it calls Nick, then it calls a succession of people. So if he doesn't answer it, then it goes to the next person, to the next person. So if you don't respond by a certain amount of time, then it starts calling out other people. So it's a little it would have been a little stressful for him to try to handle that many call outs. But it was for the same problems. So that was the sump pumps in the dry well both kind of went out at the same time. And so Jay had been spending the majority of the week trying to troubleshoot what was going on with those, figured it out, called in to see what the replacement pumps would cost. They were $1,500 a piece. He made another call and found some for about $300, found that some check valves were bad. So, you know, that repair saved a couple $1,000, but that put us a little bit behind because we were going to be building our test filter system. So they sent us a bunch of parts, and we have to make it fit into our well house, and we have to make it fit into our system, and then we have to dose it. We have to, you know, it's ours to figure out, and we're working on that. We talked about that for quite a while today on the strategy there. So that's in the works. And in order to run the test filter, we have to run well 6. And to run well 6, but not run it into the system, we have to run it out of a fire hydrant so that we're not running it into the system. We need to flush it out anyway. So if anybody sees a fire hydrant running up in the north side of town, it's because we're testing well 6. And so if that makes sense, we won't be pumping it into the water supply system. We'll be pumping it out of a hydrant and then monitoring the water that's coming out up at the well, where we have to have it chlorinated, and we have different test ports. We had to get a piece of test equipment. We're waiting on some of the test reagents to come in so we can test for iron and manganese and calcium chloride, which are the main reasons why well 6 is such hard water. So that stuff's running a little behind. Nick has it on the way, but I had a appointment to meet with Alliant Energy to go over the well 5 project, and he wasn't able to make it this week. So we're hopefully going to work on that next week. I heard news we're getting another $12,000 for tree grants. That'll put us up to about 22,000. I don't quite know how many trees that's going to be just yet, but I'm thinking between 100, 150. It's going to be definitely more than 100. I don't think it'll be quite 200. Depends on the size of the trees that we can find.
Parks and public areas.
Yes, for the public right of way and parks. Lance said that he would take some for Box Park, and that'll make a lot of sense for him because he has yard hydrants around, like he can pull and water them easily, so he doesn't have to haul a cart around. I talked to Nick McGrath with Trees Forever and his counterpart with the DNR about a tree planting event for this fall, which will help us get our Tree City USA accreditation again. And tentatively, we have that scheduled for October 3rd at 5:30. He's going to confirm that soon. and it'll most likely be at Box Park, so we can actually do a tree planting. We've had a fair amount of tree applications come in. I meet with the tree board tomorrow, so they distributed out some flyers for the trees. So hopefully we get some good interaction with the community for that. I reached out to SHPO again this week about the Herring Hotel to see if I can get any kind of an answer from them on what we can do with that building. And I haven't heard anything back. I'm just going to have to probably call around until I can find somebody that can make a decision on it. I'd like to invite them down. I could send them pictures. The building is in very bad shape, obviously.
And the question he's talking about there is, before we go over and tear it down, I want to know who gets sent to prison for tearing down a historical site. Because I'm sending somebody besides me. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not spending retirement. So with that, and we're just trying to find out, can we or can't we? If they tell us.
I got mixed signals from several people at SHPO, whether
It's not very clear on what little research I did on the website at the beginning of this. It's not.
Or is it one of those we could go over and tear it down and go, whoops, sorry about that. But, so we're looking, I know the public's going, what are you guys doing with that? Well, I was trying to get money to tear it down, but now we think we can put together enough of our own staff to tear it down.
yeah,
But
I'd like us to tear it down.
well, and I don't want to be the one that's doing the time at Fort Leavenworth because we tore down a federal historical site.
We met with the DOT a while back. I had some follow-up with them regarding the possibility of putting a high-intensity activated crosswalk in, or as we refer to it, a hawk system down at the school crossing. At that, I think we already kind of went over this, but they wanted us to go from a 4-lane to a 3-lane conversion, and they were going to kind of play let's make a deal with us on whether or not they'd let us do the hawk system. So I'm trying to get some committal from them. I talked to Tony Carroll, who is our adjuster at EMC, to see if we're still in a window, since the RRFB system, a lot of people still aren't happy with it and the level of safety it provides to the community, that we can go back to the insurance company and say, hey, this wasn't really a replacement to this. We'll eat the cost of whatever this was and we'll put it somewhere else, but we really need this hawk system. We really need to stop traffic.
But the
And what
plus,
did he say?
the plus side of that is that we've asked them that if they would give us the hawk system or let us have the hawk system, the other one could go down where we need a crosswalk at Dollar General. And I know the public's had that on Facebook. I've commented to, we have talked to the DOT, but again, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards with the DOT when it comes to plan.
So when I talked to Tony, he said he was going to have to talk to his leadership group about that. And I just sent him a friendly reminder today to ask him how that meeting went.
With a video of the hawk system.
With a video of the hawk system, you know. The issue with the DOT was they said, according to the federal traffic code, our traffic counts right now as it stands aren't enough to justify putting in a hawk system. But my argument to them is that once we get the Highway 30 project 4-lane in and get the 21 interchange in, we will have more traffic here because it's going to be a nice fast route. And I think there'll be more traffic on Highway 30, and it follows that there'll be more traffic on Highway 21.
And we explained to them it was a financial situation for the city of Belle Plaine dealing with insurance adjustment from the derecho, because we had a full stoplight system. So we are working with them to try and get this solved.
Yeah.
Hopefully our insurance company will cooperate. And no, we don't get two free ones. We're gonna have to pay for one, but I wanna pay for the cheap one and get
I just can't believe
insurance.
it's this big of a battle. We have this stoplight system.
It,
Why
yeah,
can't it be that?
I know it.
You would think we were changing the Constitution
I mean,
because
holy
the federal guidelines say, and they know they can go above and beyond the federal guidelines. They have that power.
So yeah, if you want to look it up, it's called the MUTCD, and that's the so that whether you're in Maine or Southern California or Washington or Florida, there's all the same rule, MUTCD. And they, I mean, that's just the Federal Highway Administration or whatever, I think that's what it's called, made the rules for every place in the entire country. Doesn't matter where you're at.
Well, it's frustrating because this should have been solved earlier.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when the public says, what are you guys doing? We're meeting with them. We're sending them emails. We're talking. You know, you were at the meeting down there. I don't know what more we can do.
So originally they were going to send one guy, and then we kind of rallied together and said, hey, we're going to have a group of people there. So I called that guy and I said, there's going to be a group of people here, stakeholders and people that are leadership in the community. I don't want you to feel like you are, you know, ambushed here. I want you to bring people with you that can make decisions and help explain things to people. So it's not just you talking to 10 or 12 people or however many people show up.
It would have been fair to have Chad there by himself.
No, so it was good because he brought like some, you know, other leadership people, and those are the people that we're communicating with.
What else you got in your report?
Does anybody have any questions for me on anything?
I did, but I forgot it.
The Kirkwood project's coming along. The asbestos roof has been torn off. The new electrical has been put in. They put some new roofing on the annex part, the old SHLU office. We're having some problems with the air conditioning in there, so I've been working with his title is the vice president of Kirkwood. I don't remember his exact title, but because the school area is getting really hot. So Rod went up there today and found that there were some wires that were cut or something, probably from the asbestos mitigation team that was in there working around. So
Vice president in charge of air conditioning.
no, he's the vice president of facilities and maintenance. So he's like the highest guy. That's just who I've been working with the whole time.
Is that
So
is that feasible when they get done playing around down there to take the council through on a tour of that place?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, we'll wait a little longer. They have to put a new roof on. They're going to put new downspouts in, then, you know, clean up the area. We'll have a little bit of concrete work to do. The scope grew on what they agreed to do. So that's, you know, to our benefit that we have brand new electrical entrances that are buried underground instead of overhead and safer.
Let us know when it's feasible to take the
Sure.
council down and go through it. Then that can lead.
I have a set of keys now. So
Well, that can lead to a discussion of what we're going to do with this. Anything else for Steve?
the school is still very interested in keeping their spot for the alternative school and renting that.
All right, mayor's report, Benton landfill meeting, took 15 minutes, the last one. And I told them they weren't gonna hire a person to do the books over there for $16 an hour. And I think they're giving her I think the offer went out at $18.50 an hour. So it's a good thing we were a little more flexible on what we gave our landfill manager. Now, I did screw up the agenda. I was supposed to have an item in here to vote on meeting times. And that slipped right past me. So here's what we're gonna do. By executive order, I'm gonna have your first meeting in October start at 6:30. Then I will give you a spot to vote on. Any problems with that? Thank you, Judy, for discovering that I already looked in the minutes and approved the minutes. Right there in the minutes. I will have, yeah, Dave, that worked well. Guess I was a little shook up when I had the dog case come in. Oh, God. And that's really all, other than landfill. No, Benton Development tomorrow is having our second all Benton County luncheon with our city clerk from Benton County. So I'm the host.
And Steve's running the show here
Yeah.
for a few hours.
Call or stop in.
Call would probably be safer, folks. Any questions? I know it was a long meeting tonight, a busy meeting. You guys accomplished a lot. We did get rid of one piece of property. We solved the dog case, and we did a whole lot of other work. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight. The EasyCog newsletter is your correspondence. I put that out in front of each one of your places. I didn't put it in the packet. We have nothing. I don't think I got any residents left to comment, so, and I got no old business. Well, I did. I told you what I was doing with your meeting. So we'll be at 6:30 for your first meeting in October, and I will make that. It's already in a paragraph in my newsletter to the public on why we've switched and why we chose 6:30. With that being said, I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
No motion for adjournment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I've been told this is not a discussable item, but if you do have discussion, please bring it up. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. At 8:17.
You had like 7 seconds of